Okay, in continuing with our project to get the bug up to daily driver status, today we're going to drain the transmission oil and replace it. Check out the condition of it, see how much metal's in it and that sort of thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is jack up the rear end and take the right rear wheel off to give us a little better access to the transmission and the right side of it where the fill plug is. It is so much easier than using a lug wrench. Alright, I made a mistake in remembering that the fill plug of the transmission was on the right side. That's incorrect, it's on the driver's side. So, as you can see, I rectified that situation. Now what you're looking at right there is the fill plug to the transmission. It's a 17mm hex, and what you're going to do first, you want to make sure you can get that freed, because you don't want to drain the transmission and then not be able to fill it, because then you'll be stuck in your garage. So you can go out and buy a 17mm hex key or a 17mm socket, hex socket, or you can do what I did, which is buy a 17mm nut, a 17mm bolt, and two 17mm nuts, and tighten them up on each other tightly, so you can use one to loosen and the other to tighten. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to crawl under there and hopefully be able to free that sucker up, and if I can, we'll go ahead and drain it. Now, I'd already replaced the axle seals, so when I had those out, it drained a considerable amount of the fluid out, the gear oil, so I don't expect any to come pouring out of this. And if there does, then I'll have a mess on the floor, because I'm not prepared for it. Beautiful. Alright, there we have two drain plugs. One there, one there. Same deal. I'm going to pull out the high one first, drain it, and then come down here and drain the lower one. I'm not going to be able to film it because I only have two hands. Bye. Alright. You see, finishing the draining. Alright, now what we have here is 80W90 80 weight gear oil. You've got the Valvoline and a little gallon pump. Now you can get the liters and sit back there and squeeze it in bit by bit, but I prefer not to do that. It's a pain in the butt, and I'm going to do it a couple of times since this is my new bug. Well, new old bug. So now I will pump this sucker full, and when it starts to come out of that hole, that is full. Now it has these little doohickeys there, so it should pop in there and hold itself. We shall see. Alright, I see it's coming out of the plug hole now, so I'm going to let it sit and settle, and I'll come back and finish up after a while. Okay, it's been a few minutes, So I'm going to pull this out. The level is just barely below. Just barely below the threads. So, now with our homemade hex wrench, and our plug, I'm going to wipe off the inside of the threads. And plug it up.